In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there is no God but God, and Prophet Muhammad is his slave and messenger, and I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. I would like to discuss about divine law, how these divine laws are eternal and universal, and they're immutable, that they cannot be changed, they cannot be stopped. These are the laws that permeate the universe, and that we are all subject to these divine laws. And the divine law that I would like to talk most about today is about the law of protection of Allah, that Allah prescribes us in many verses in the Quran to take Him as His shield and protector alone for our success in this world and the next. So I got a couple I got some verses in the Quran and a hadith about Imam Mahdi and his pledge of allegiance. So we'll start with the Quran. We'll go right into Quran chapter 24 verse 52. And those who obey Allah and His Messenger and hold Allah in awe and take Him as a shield for protection, it is they who shall be triumphant. So it's pretty clear, this verse in the Quran, that taking Allah as your shield and protector alone, you'll be triumphant, not only in this world but in the next world. We'll go to Quran chapter 74 verse 56. But these deniers will not remember it unless Allah, who willed, He alone is worthy to be taken as a shield, and He alone is the most worthy of granting protection. So if you want protection of any kind, Allah is the best protector. And obviously Imam Mahdi will be implementing the divine laws of Allah. These are the unseen laws of Allah. It takes some dedication, research, and divine understanding to understand these divine laws. And there's another Quran verse we'll go into divine law, which is chapter 6 verse 38. There is no terrestrial creature that crawls in the earth, nor a bird that flies with its two wings, but they are creatures like you, all subject to the divine laws. We have neglected nothing in this perfect book of law, which is the Quran. Then to their Lord shall they all be gathered. So we're all subject to these divine laws. The Quran is the perfect book of law, and Allah teaches these laws through the verses in the Quran, through situations where prophets and messengers were dealing with in their lives, and uses this sort of as parables and different ways for us to understand these divine laws. So we're going to go into a hadith now, where this is the pledge of allegiance to Imam Mahdi, and this is where basically Imam Mahdi, by the will of Allah, destroys a whole army on his own, which is quite remarkable. And I think this is the most telling sign for Imam Mahdi, that this will really prove to the whole world who is Imam Mahdi after this event. So we'll go to this hadith. The Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there will be a dispute following the death of a ruler of Saudi Arabia, and a man from my lineage will flee from Al-Madina to Mecca, fearing that the people will try to make him a ruler. Recognizing him as the Mahdi, some of the people of Mecca will come to him and bring him out against his will, and they will pledge allegiance to him between the corner black stone and the Maqam. An army will be sent against him from Ash-Shaam. This army will be swallowed up by the earth in Al-Baida, between Mecca and Al-Madina. When the people see that, the devoted worshippers from Al-Shaam and the best people from Iraq will come to him and pledge allegiance to him. Then there will arise a man from Quraish, whose maternal uncles are from Kalb, who will send an army against him and will prevail over them. That defeated army will be the force of Kalb. The real loser will be the one who is not present when the wealth of Kalb is divided. He, Mahdi, will divide the wealth and rule the people in accordance with the Sunnah of their Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Islam will become established on earth, and he will remain for 7 years. Then he will die, and the Muslims will offer the funeral prayer over him. So, Imam Mahdi will, by the will of Allah, will single-handedly defeat a army from Al-Shaam, which is the areas of like Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, those types of roughly that area. So I think that will be the obvious sign. The most obvious sign will be that sign: an army being completely swallowed up by one man, which is quite impressive. One man to defeat an entire army. This will, I believe, give a great amount of confidence in the believers in Allah, and that Imam Mahdi will prevail over all the injustice and corruption and inequality within the world, and will remedy the world and bring peace and prosperity, abundance, equality, justice throughout the whole world by Islam. By implementing Islam, the Quran, these are the ways we rise in eminence. The Quran is here to help the people, to bring them out of their crooked ways, to get them onto the better and straight path, the path to Allah. And what is pleasing to Allah, Allah knows best. He created the worlds. He created us. So it's quite impressive. There'll be quite the sign to see and a great time to be alive. Within those years, the abundance, the justice will start flowing out from that time. So it's very important that we understand these divine laws of Allah. Protection, I think the divine law of protection, asking Allah for His protection, He's the best of protectors, is very key. I don't hear a lot of, I barely have heard any scholars really talking about taking Allah as their shield and protector. It's very rare that you'll hear Islamic people really talking about this. This is really highlighted in the Quran, and I could give you so many verses of the Quran that talk about taking Allah as your shield and protector alone. It's very key. We have unjust legislation in most of our countries in regarding to to travel. People should have the choice if they want car insurance to travel or whatnot. I prefer to take Allah as my shield, not having insurance and whatnot. I've drove many years without insurance and whatnot, just taking Allah as my shield. We got a Quran verse here from chapter 67, verse 15. It's about travel. He it is who has made the earth smooth and subservient to you for your benefit. So traverse far and deep into the spacious paths for your spiritual and material advancement, and thus by active labor eat of His sustenance and enjoy His gifts. To Him will you all return after your having been raised to life. So Allah is saying here, traverse the spacious paths for your spiritual and material advancement. So Allah is saying we have the right to travel. We don't need licenses or whatever else to travel. All this slavery that's going on, forcing people to have licenses, to have stickers and license plates and registration and all this nonsense. This is of the shaitan. This is of control and manipulation. This is going against free will, which Allah says in chapter 6, verse 149, say then with Allah is a conclusive argument. Had He enforced His will, He would have surely guided you all. We got another one here, Quran chapter 6, 107, verse 107. If Allah had enforced His will, they would have not associated partners with Him, and we have not made you a guardian over them, nor are you disposed for their affairs. So Allah is saying, if He enforced His will, they would have not associated partners with Him. They would not have the free will choice to deny God, to deny these our God-given rights. This is what equality is. Equality is that we all are subject to these divine laws, and we are all equal under these divine laws, that nobody has more free will than another person. No one has the right to enforce their will upon another person, and causing harm and whatnot, I mean, there's some different situations where you have a young child and, obviously the child hasn't fully developed their full mental capabilities, so the will of the parent will kind of take over a little bit. So there are some circumstances where the will of the parent will override the young child. But once the child is of proper thinking age and capabilities, then the free will of the child should be respected, and the free will of everybody should be respected, and nobody has the right to rule over another person. Government, if you break down government, it's mind control. Govern means control. Ment is mind, mental. Mind control, that's what government's all about. It's just mind control. All this legislation, restricting people's travels, going against people's free will, not letting people to seek their sustenance, spiritually and materially. You need a license to do this, or you need permission from the government. The government is basically playing God. They want to take God's place. They want to make up their own rules. They want to make up their own morality. They want to play God and all these leaders and whatnot, and they want elections and selections for their slave masters. Every country's got slave masters. Just look in your government and you'll see them. Look to the police force. They're the ones who are going to enforce these haram legislation, forcing their will upon other people, using violence, using force, using aggression, using fear. They're going to do all sorts of things and fine you or whatever if you don't comply with their erroneous beliefs. A true law is eternal. It's universal. It's immutable. It can't be shut down. It's like the law of gravity. It's everywhere in the universe. It's eternal. It's timeless. The legislation is man's dogmatic beliefs. Like take car insurance. They force everybody, you can't drive on the road if you don't have car insurance. Well, it says in the Quran that my best protector is Allah, and that for me to have success and be triumphant, I need to take Allah as my shield, you know what I mean? So they're really denying people the right to have their free will choice. If you want car insurance, great, that's your choice. But that can't be forced on another person. That's a transgression against somebody else's free will. And they'll use violence and fines and whatever else, I've been subject to that. I've traveled without insurances and whatnot, and taking Allah as my shield. Allah has always protected me, and this is what Imam Mahdi will do. He'll take Allah as his shield and actually defeat an entire army, because he takes Allah as his shield and he's not afraid that he knows that whatever will happen will be the best outcome. Allah knows best, obviously. So it's very important to understand these divine laws. These laws govern the universe. If you believe them, don't believe them, it doesn't matter. They're there. It's like gravity, like if you don't believe in gravity, if you reject it, if you ignore it, gravity's still going to be there. You can deny it all you want. And the same thing with these divine laws. You can deny it all you want, You can deny people their free will all you want, but they're there. People that enforce these dogmatic legislations and play God, they're doing the worst sin that they could possibly do, which is shirk, which is associating partners with the law. Most of these legislations that are in our faces are go against divine law. They go against the free will of the people. It's creating all kinds of chaos in the world because they're not following these divine laws. It's just a bunch of control, and that's not how Allah intended for His universe to be created. And when Imam Mahdi starts implementing all these divine laws into practice, and people at a larger level start implementing these divine laws, paradise will ensue, abundance will ensue, happiness will ensue, freedom will ensue, beauty will ensue, prosperity. The earth will give out abundance, and it will change the whole atmosphere and vibration of the earth. I mean, that's what it's all about. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Take Allah as your shield and protector alone for your success in this world and the next. May Allah bless us all, protect the believers, and increase us in knowledge, which is very important. And enjoy the rest of your time, and may Allah be with me and you. Thank you so much. Peace.